On Monday evening, June the 5th, we had the pleasure to recognize in a special ceremony all of our graduating seniors who received senior awards this year. I would like to once again to recognize these senior award winners on the occasion of their graduation this evening. You will find the names of these winners and their awards printed in your graduation program. Will all those seniors who were acknowledged or given awards for their academic fitness, for being members of the National Honor Society, or receiving department awards, vocational technical school awards, or other academic awards, please stand and be recognized at this time. Your applause, please. Each year, as you know, we recognize certain students for school service and citizenship. This recognition is a tribute to their personal service to Cheltenham High School. Will all those students who receive service awards please stand now and be recognized? Your applause, please. Also in your program, you will see the names of those students who were recognized by the National Merit Corporation and the National Achievement Scholarship Program for outstanding African American students. This year, we're proud to announce that we have 15 finalists and 7 winners in these combined programs. I would like all of our semifinalists, finalists, letters of commendation winners, and scholarship winners to stand and be recognized at this time. At the Senior Award Ceremony, we also recognize those senior students who excelled in our interscholastic athletic program. Would those seniors who received Holden Awards, Coaches Awards, or other athletic awards please stand and be recognized at this time? Your applause, please. Finally, on behalf of our students and staff, I would like to thank the United Parents Group, the Cheltenham Alumni Association, and the sponsors of other scholarship programs for their support in recognizing our scholarship recipients again this year. You will also find the names of these scholarship winners printed in your graduation programs. Thank you.
Good evening, family and friends, school board, administration, teachers, and of course our graduates. I've always held the belief that one should take what he or she does quite seriously. At the same time, never take yourself too seriously at all. It's a good thing I did this because about 6 weeks ago an incident occurred that I want to tell my graduates and tell the people before me. Following a board work session on a Tuesday evening, I went to a local restaurant for a sandwich. I was with some people from the meeting. I was not alone. The waitress that came to our table was wearing a Temple shirt, and I have a degree from Temple, and I asked her if she went there and what her major was. She did go there, and she told me her major was communications. I then asked her, of course, where did you go to high school? And she said Cheltenham, class of 1990. Now, it's been a tradition, that must be the waitress there. It's been a tradition here that the superintendent gives remarks at graduation and there's no major speaker. However, in 1989, as many of you know, the President of the United States, George Bush, addressed our graduating class. And then in 1990, it reverted back to me. Well, knowing that she missed the President of the United States by 1 year and was stuck with me, I still asked her if the President spoke at her graduation. I said, I recalled the President spoke at Cheltenham, didn't he? And of course she said to me, no, that was the year before. So I then said, well, who spoke at your commencement? And she replied, and I'll never forget this as long as I live. Who knows? And who cares? Well, I'm that person. And so I'll keep my remarks, my very forgettable remarks, short and sweet and get off. First and foremost, very important that you hear this at least once, class. I'm completing my 15th year as a superintendent of schools, and without a doubt, you are the best class I've ever been associated with, ever. You, the class of 1995, will always be held up by me as the benchmark class for any future class I'm ever associated with. Your accomplishments make me very proud, and Jason alluded to some of them. The highest number of national merit scholarships in the state of Pennsylvania. 5 Suburban 1 championship sports teams. In my opinion, and you, the seniors, were the leaders, the best high school play, the Music Man, the best high school play I've ever seen. Two young ladies in this group went to the International Science Fair. There's acceptance after acceptance after acceptance to the most prestigious colleges in the nation in this group. Our VOTEC students ran away with the annual awards recently at the VOTEC, and you can go on and on and on. You are simply the best. Now for my really forgetful little message. Graduates, take one moment here. Literally do it. Look around the audience. Look at the people in front of you tonight who are here to honor you. See if you can find a parent or a grandparent or an uncle, somebody older than you. Take a good long look at that person. These are your parents, your grandparents, your uncles, your aunts, your friends, and so on. Notice how pleased they look when they're looking back at you. Take a look at that. Now, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. There are 2 reasons, in my opinion, that this audience and other audiences throughout the country are so pleased the month of June at graduations. The obvious one is they are pleased because you, the loved one, are graduating and you've made them proud. That's obvious. But there is a second reason we sit here so happy. All of us in this audience that are over 18 are 18 again for a minute here. We see you and we remember our own youth. We remember our strength of conviction. We remember standing tall. But most of all, we remember we had a dream. When we were 18, we had a dream. Each of us had this dream, and we were young, and we were going to accomplish it. We would make this world a better place to live somehow, some way. But many of us in this audience gave up on our dream because life became hard, and it seemed no matter what we did, we always seemed to be running against the wind. Always against the wind, never with the wind at our backs. And consequently, some of us let go of our dreams. We let go of the rainbow, and we accepted the dreamless life. Those of us that did that are unfortunate souls if we let go of our dreams. Because life seemed too difficult at the time, we made a major error, some of us, in judgment and a major error in understanding, and I hope you don't make that error. Don't you ever make the error of giving up on your dreams. The dream you have today, and what some of us forgot, see, that is your little something against the wind. You give up your dream, and you give up your little something against the wind, and now your life is that uphill battle. So dream on and on and on. Now, I know my little advice here will be forgotten. When, like the waitress, you have your Temple shirt, your Harvard shirt, your Penn State shirt, or your workforce shirt. But maybe you shouldn't forget what I say too quickly. Because, based upon what that young waitress in the restaurant said, maybe I am who knows. And maybe I am, and I definitely am, who cares. So I wish God's blessings on the class of 95. Thank you.
When many of you were growing up, your parents put marks on walls or closet doors to measure your growth. As your class sponsor, I too have had the opportunity to measure your growth over the last 4 years, and especially during this, your senior year. Although we are no longer interested in height, individual growth can be measured in so many different ways. During the past year, the class of 1995 has been the leader of this school in many different areas. The debate team, led by John and Semra, won the league championship, as did the chess team. The problem-solving team of Amy, Larissa, and the two Amandas defended their state title, but declined their invitation to the international competition so that they could be here this evening. The El Delator, with Carrie as editor, told the story of your growth in terms of the steps you have taken in the past 4 years. The Quintessence, edited by Danielle and Tanya, showed just how much the literary and artistic minds of the school have grown, while the Cheltonian continued to win Keystone Awards as the top student newspaper in the state. In the arts, the class of 1995 displayed growth with the 2 Cheltenham theater productions of Enter Laughing and the outstanding musical The Music Man, in which the River City School Board harmonized its way into the audience's hearts. We were treated to 2 special evenings when Ona and Margie and Eric shared their talents with the community in performances of their senior independent projects. The instrumental and vocal concerts highlighted a year of beautiful sounds that included Grace, a regional violinist, Jake, a state orchestra bass player, and Rick, a district trumpeter. In a year of memorable athletic triumphs, this experienced class led many of our teams to victory. The football team, under the leadership of Jamie and Curtis, defeated arch-rival Abington 21-15. Before going on to attain its first winning record in a decade. For the first time in recent memory, senior-led Cheltenham teams won Suburban 1 championships in 5 sports. The wrestling team, supported by captains Kevin, Rich, and Tyrone, won the first title since 1971. The boys' tennis team, led by David, Jimmy, Craig, and Matt, were also champions. Both our boys' and girls' track teams brought home the gold due to the efforts of Denise, Jillian, and Amy. And Cheltenham's most successful team of the last decade, the girls' basketball team, won its ninth consecutive championship, led by Cheryl, Kathy, and Laura. In the area of humanitarian activities, the class of 1995 demonstrated its continual growth towards adulthood as the Student Council, headed by Jimmy and Adam, took part in helping people less fortunate. The Student Council delivered 40 Thanksgiving baskets to local residents and played Santa Claus to 56 orphans at Beth Anna, making each of their Christmas wishes come true. On 2 separate occasions, they made donations of life-giving blood to the Red Cross, which totaled over 125 pints. And just last month, they collected over $1,100 for the Oklahoma City Relief Fund. Clearly, this was growth we all could measure. As for social events, the senior class, led by officers Jason, Chris, Brandon, and Megan, was the leading force behind the biggest homecoming dance ever. And just last Tuesday, they presided over one of the most elegant senior proms in years. They arrived in style, many in black or white limousines. 6 creative couples even appeared in a yellow school bus with hand-painted signs and streamers heralding their arrival. The night was filled with magic as they returned to school for a walk through an enchanted forest that you, their supportive but exhausted parents, put together with love. And for that, we thank you. Tonight, we have measured your growth in terms of athletics, creativity, and social awareness. But the achievements of the class of 1995 stand for so much more than this. For in the years to come, this class will continue to grow, to achieve, and to make us proud. Mr. Rogers, it is with great pride and much love that I present to you the class of 1995. You're welcome.
Seniors, by any number of measures, it has been an exceptional year. And when you've listened to Jason and Dr. Stefanski and Mrs. Stam recite some of the highlights of the year, it's like a wonderful positive newsreel of great events succeeding great events. And as you consider this, you begin to recognize the great power and the tremendous resources and leadership that your class gave our school. The class of 1995, a great class. But what is this quality that we call greatness? When we say that a class, a group, a nation of people are great, what are we really talking about? I believe that the quality of greatness is complex and elusive, and I believe that considering its meaning is important. The French aristocrat, Alexis de Tocqueville, who toured our young nation in the 1830s, sought the greatness that he sensed in our republic. He summed up his findings in the following statement, and I quote, "I sought for the greatness and genius of America in fertile fields and boundless forest. It was not there. I sought for it in the free schools and her institutions of learning. It was not there. I sought for it in her matchless Constitution and democratic Congress. It was not there. Not until I went to the churches and temples of America and found them aflame with righteousness did I understand the greatness and genius of America. America is great because America is good. When America ceases to be good, America will cease to be great." End quote. De Tocqueville wisely reasoned that it's not merely the resources or the setting that makes a group of people great. Greatness comes from the heart and spirit as much as it does the brain and body. The resources of this class are awesome, and they have been nurtured in a caring and supportive school community. I do not for a minute doubt that we will hear from many of you as you go out into the world in a new century to take on the defining challenges of your time. I do not doubt that many of you will accomplish much, but will you be great? As young men and young women in a new century, you, like de Tocqueville, will go to find the greatness of our nation, and I hope that you join in his conclusion. You, each of you, has the power to live lives of goodness. Each of you can contribute substantially to our national greatness when you make the good choice to put others ahead of yourself, when you realize that choosing to be a good person, a good friend, a good parent, a good husband or wife, employee or employer, a good community member, is a choice that is made from the heart. Our nation needs your talents, but it may need your goodness even more. And it is my hope and prayer for you that you will see your way clear to live lives of goodness. America is great because America is good. Like de Tocqueville, I too have sought the greatness in America. Class of 1995, I found it in you. Members of the Board of School Directors, it is my great honor and distinct pleasure to present to you Cheltenham High School's class of 1995.
The date, June 10th, 1965. The event, the 81st Annual Cheltenham High School Commencement Exercises, fellow board member Neil Sklaroff's and my graduation day. Some things were different here 30 years ago. The ceremony was held outside on the parking lot, which is now the air-conditioned new wing. There were no risers, so only the parents whose last name began with the letter A could see their front row graduates. The rest of us were a sea of gowns and mortarboards behind that first row. There were 4 student speakers at the event, an event which seemed interminably long because, you see, there were 610 students being graduated that year. My last name began with the letter B. Once called upon, we had to remain standing after we had moved to the podium to be handed our diplomas. I still remember the pains in my legs as I stood while 570 other students received their diplomas, one at a time. How I wish that my last name were Zebos or Zippin, anything to put me at the end of the line. The school program was different as well. There was no open campus. Students spent unassigned periods in teacher-supervised study hall. There were 6 55-minute periods in a school day. For some reason, which we never understood, fourth period was interrupted every day by lunch in the middle of the period. Oh, and don't let me forget about the dress code. A student could be suspended for wearing culottes or split skirts, sandals, or blue jeans. In fact, female students weren't permitted to wear slacks at all, even on the coldest days of winter. If the dress code were in effect today, the entire school population, staff members as well, would be suspended. The date, June 12, 1995. The event, the 111th Annual Cheltenham High School Commencement Exercises, your graduation day. Some things are the same or even better today. In my class of 610 students, there were 13 National Merit semifinalists, and we thought we were a very smart class. In your class, a class which is half the size of mine, there are 17 National Merit semifinalists. You have one of the best records of college acceptances in many years. Your performance at the Vocational Technical School has also been outstanding, with several of you winning awards as you have prepared to enter the field of industry. Perhaps it's because you are the first class who experienced all-day kindergarten. At least we now know the value of that program. Your athletic teams still win league championships, in a large part due to the strength of this senior class. Community service, which was almost non-existent in my class, has been taken to new heights by your class through groups like STRIVE, students taking a role in volunteer education, Students for Environmental Awareness, Teens Against Drugs, Amnesty International, Students Against Drinking and Driving, and many more. Your class, with its blend of many cultures, has been outstanding in its spirit and its cohesiveness. This has been evident throughout the year and was particularly obvious at the senior prom and post-prom breakfast, where the feeling of the night was overwhelmingly warm and harmonious. Speaking of harmony, I like to think of the class of 1995 as a concert orchestra. Each of you has had an important part to play in your 4 years of rehearsals. You started out in different sections in 9th grade. Some of you were stronger in percussion, others in strings. But by senior year, you've blended together to make beautiful music as a group. At this point, your high school performances, under the conductorship of Joseph Rogers and his staff, are done, but your music will continue to evolve. As you proceed in the composition of your futures, may your hits be many, and may you each have at least one #1 song. I hope that you will fondly remember your years at Cheltenham and the baseline or foundation that it provided. The Cheltenham community and the class of 1965 salute the class of 1995. We love you all, and we are extremely proud of you.
At the May 9, 1995 meeting of the Board of School Directors, the board authorized the preparation of diplomas for the members of our senior class. The 9 members of the board are here with us this evening to personally award these diplomas to each of our seniors. The first member of the board who will present diplomas tonight will be Mr. Neil Sklaroff. Jason Scott Cohen. Christopher Michael Torres Evans. Ladies and gentlemen, we do ask that you hold your applause as we go through this so that each name can be heard and each student appropriately be announced and featured. Brandon Nyberg. Megan Bray Human. Cheryl Elise Allen. Stacy Scott Armstrong. Jay Run Bay. Sage Alyssa Barber Smith. Elizabeth Ann Mary Therese Benson. Ashley Ann Bornstein. Michelle Bianca Bracey. Natalie Rochelle Adams. Jean Marie Capizzi. Rebecca J. Hong. Natalie Beth Feller. Ona Renee Gabriel. Amy Hector. Amanda Hector. Sarah Rose Juska. Helen Jean Kim. Lainey Jessica Kabashik. Margaret Lempert. Darcy Law. Grace G. Lim. Semra Meshalam. Emily Myers. Jennifer Ellen Ragnow. School Director Mr. Charles Steinberg will now distribute diplomas. James Lawrence Chairman. Adam Mark Garrett. Rhonda Michelle Branham. Sarah Richmond Bransky. Aaron Sidney Breslow. Veronica Ayesha Brito. Courtney Allison Brown. Jody Lee Brown. Shanlina Ine Brown. Shari Andrea Butts. Rashay Anita Bird. Susanna Calvo Lopez. Kathy Ann Carroll. Susan Chinta. Hyun Sion Chan. Corinne Yvonne Koger. Denise Marie Connor. Ji Young Dan. Heather Daniel. Rebecca Dansky. Yvette Karen DeShazo. Sarah Elizabeth Duty. Mindy Lisa Dorfman. Allison Elizabeth Doyle. Danielle Emily Dreyfus. Jessica Duffy. Desiree Regina Neal. Yes, just shifting. Joshua David Abrams. Nathan Murphy Alexander. Matthew Kaminsky. Benjamin Ryan Affelbaum. Isidro Christian Arana. Jared B. Archie. Daniel James Askin. Aran Bar-Or. Frank James Battaglia. Nicholas Severio Bevilacqua. Kevin Martin Binker. Ezra Blount. Frank Christian Blum. Neil Lewis Blumberg, James Michael Batone Jr., Benjamin Aaron Boxer, Kevin Randolph Brandon, Keno Bryan, Hakeem Jerome Bryant, Tito Ryan Butcher, Jeffrey Baruch. School Director Mrs. Marjorie Weintraub will now distribute diplomas. David Nathan Schwartz, Eric Henry Schinfeld, David Jonathan Crone, Matthew McDonald, Adam B. Rosenzweig, Adam Brett Carapalati, Solomon Casey, Andrew Cho, Woo Take Cho, Mario Ciabarra Jr., Anthony Jeffrey Cohen, Charles Altman Cooper, Jesse Cosia, Jamal Oliver Covington, Joshua Nathaniel Cox, Matthew Michael Crago, Timothy Michael DeHennis, Christian Newell Dusing, Robert Kenneth DeWeese, Tyrone Johnson, Brendan Patrick Doherty, Dominic Tobias Falso, Anthony Farley, Lev Alexander Fagan, Evan David Furstenfeld, Jason N. Flood, Aaron J. Frazier, Andrew Michael Gadaletta III, Matthew John Gazzara. School Director Kathleen Dooley will now distribute diplomas. Kelly Danielle Hawkins, Danielle Aaron Egan, Danielle Melissa Elephant, Cindy Dorell Ellis, Jennifer Ann E. Farrowen, Michelle Marie Farley, Beth Anna Fegley, Curry Ann Fisher, Crystal Felicia Fordham, Rose Ann Fody, Christiane D. Fulcher, Joanna Rose Fulgenetti, Rachel Gabriel, Andaya Machaya Garrett, Margot Gilliam, Melissa Tova Goschel, Rebecca Lee Hollinger, Taryn Nicole Edmonds, Anne Louise Stephen, Jennifer Tancredi, Hyun Ju Deborah Sun, Rachel Hannah Samavilla, Sarah Allison Schubert, Larissa S. Shambaugh, Maria Beck Nguyen, Christina L. Rebitz, School Director Mr. Marvin Weinberg will now distribute diplomas.
This is like a trap.
Bree Leslie Goldstein, Virginia Cruz Green, Amy Elizabeth Gustafson, Nikki Guy, Lara Hansen, Rachel Jean Hansen, Kendra Renee Henry, Sarah Hesden, Adrian Deborah Hoffman, Leslie Hoffman, Victoria Hyun, Joyce Ann Jericho, Alyssa R. Joel, Angela Johnson, Jennifer H. Johnson, Nora Jones, Jillian Joseph, Jacqueline Elizabeth Joseph, Ilana Robin Katz, Catherine Christensen, Ali Meredith Kuttner, Amanda Beth Lember, Ilana Levin, Ann Fun Lin, Christine Robin Liggins, Rachel Lucan, Heather Michelle Lyons, School Director and Board President Mrs. Emily Greenberg will now distribute diplomas. Brad H. Gelman, David A. Gerhard, Daniel Paul Ginsberg, Eric Scott Ginsberg, David Allen Goldman, Michael J. Graves, Brandon Hanstein, Damian Hector, Boris Dove Heifetz, Franklin Y. Holland, Francis A. Holmesa Jr., Alexander Essard, Sean R. Jackson, David A. Joseph, Peter A. Kahn, Richard Jacob Cass, Brian Gregory Keys, Watki Ko, Charles Patrick Kilroy, Kim Dong-yul, Young Jun Kim, Jonathan Kolb, Brendan T. Brennan, Jeffrey Raymond Brown, Eric Todd Feldman, Jacob Greenberg, Charles Terrence Ellis Jr., Jonathan Kravis, Andrew Lassiter, Han Sung Lee, Yi Su Huan, David R. Lennon, Brian Levy, Gabriel J. Lickstein, Arthur Raynard Lennon, John Lockerbie, Joseph LaPrette, Devin Chappelle Martin, Cahill Hassan McCrae, Anthony Charles McElhenney, Sean Timothy McElhenney, Michael Joseph McGlawn, John McLaughlin, Joshua McVeigh Schultz, Michael S. Meltzer, Craig C. Metcalf, Matthew Philip Miller, Joshua Millis, Jeffrey David Mills, Zehud K. Mitchell, James Mostower, Robert John Mottershead, James William Muldowney. School Director Mr. Alan Glass will now distribute diplomas. Christine Elizabeth McLaughlin, Noah Maliar, Denise McLaughlin, Lauren Diana Miller, Lisa Michelle Middleman, Mila Bianca Morris, Shalea Mumford, Kim Yuen Nguyen, Min Chao Nguyen, Tisha Nickenig, Gina Nicole Norman, Afia Ohini Frimpong, Ann Morris Olson, Sunny Park, Suk Finn, Nicole Lee Potts, Denise Rao, Serena LaShawn Reed, Fabienne Ramakla, Janelle N. Reynolds, Joy Elizabeth Rhoda, Julie Suzanne Rockhour, Valentina P. Rodowitz, Stacy Lee Rubin, Teresa Samian, Rachel Erica Scheinfeld, Rachel Seidman, School Director Mrs. Fraserita Klassen will now distribute diplomas. Abigail Elizabeth Shapiro, Margot Deborah Simon, Susan Elizabeth Smith, Tanya Claire Snyder, Cara Ellen Spallone, Christiana Margaret Stanka, Amy Lynn Simfoski, Carly Michelle Stern, Kristen Mager Stewart, Monique Ann Stinson, Kimberly Ann Tompkins, Virginia Louise Suss, Heather S. Teefee, Rachel Laura Human, Kavana A. Walker, Tia Janelle Washington, Jacqueline Michelle Weiss, Melissa Wijatonga, Gretchen Elizabeth Wilcox, Sarita Stephanie Williams, Yolanda Susanna Williams, Danica Lee Yamasato, Hei Rim Yoon, Kellen Zale, Jody Elise Zatz, Andrea Latoya Cunningham, Bettia Prince. School Director and Board Vice President, Mrs. Ann Weinblatt, will now distribute diplomas. Raymond Newton, David Norris, Scott Norward, Tremaine Oliver, David Joseph Exodus Palin, Jay Park, Jeffrey Pasternak. Please, audience please. Joshua William Perlson, Liang Kim Fun, Chad Mitchell Posnan, Chad Robert Punchard, Andrew J. Reed Jr., Leonard Michael Richmond, Kelly Robinson, Jonathan D. Rothman, Yuri Rishak, Christopher Kevin Sakasitz, James Brent Satko, Michael Brandon Saunders, Jesse Noah Shafson, Curtis Tyrone Schley, Yanni Aaron Schwartz, Tyrone M. Scott II, Jeffrey Russ Sharman, Richard Carl Shoemaker, Kenneth Isaiah Simon, Jamie Lloyd Smith, Douglas Andrew Sollett, Jacob Saul Solomon, Michael Lawrence Spector, Brian W. Starkweather, John Taglienti Jr., Jeffrey M. Tasoski, David W. Uncal, Gabriel Vinette, John Villanova, Jude Anthony Warrig, Noah Wiener, Ryan John Lockhart Wernz, Terrell D. Wilkins, Brent Williamson, Mac J. Wimberly, Dennis Michael Windish, Stephen Mark Worley, Dong Hoon Yu, Adam Mordecai Zisserman, Kevin Johns Vargulis, Fresnel Francois, Laura Bale, Tyrone Johnson, Dante Melton. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for our alma mater. Graduates, go forth into the neighborhoods, communities, towns, and cities of our great nation and fill them with your hard work, active participation, splendid example, and deep caring. And go with our very best wishes, class of 1995.